The story of the Splash Brothers, the duo that didn't just change the game, they redefined it. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. Injuries, doubts, and even critics who said, "You'll never win shooting like that," threatened to derail their dreams. Yet, with each shot that splashed through the net, they proved everyone wrong. In this video, we'll dive deep into how Steph and Klay became the pioneers of the three-point era and the legacy they've built that will forever echo through NBA history. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss the incredible journey of how two sharpshooters splashed their way to greatness. Before the world knew them as the Splash Brothers, Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson were just two kids trying to escape the massive shadows cast by their NBA fathers. Growing up, Steph was often overlooked. His dad, Del Curry, was a renowned three-point shooter in his own right, and Steph was often dismissed as too small or not athletic enough to make it in the NBA. Klay, on the other hand, was the son of Michael Thompson, a two-time NBA champion with the Lakers. Despite this pedigree, Klay faced his own struggles, with many questioning his work ethic and passion for the game. Steph grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, where he spent hours shooting on the family's backyard hoop. "I'd always be out there, trying to mimic my dad's perfect form," Steph once recalled. Del, watching his son launch shot after shot, said, "I knew he had the talent, but I wasn't sure if he'd ever be physically big enough for the NBA." Steph's growth spurt came late, and in high school, he was often dwarfed by the opposing players. Still, he kept shooting, perfecting that lightning-quick release that would one day revolutionize the game. Meanwhile, Klay's childhood was rooted in a competitive household in Lake Oswego, Oregon. "Our family dinners were more like boxing matches than meals," Klay joked. His father, Michael, would challenge Klay and his brothers to intense basketball games in the driveway. "He pushed us hard," Klay said, "but it built character. It made me fearless on the court." Despite his father's influence, Klay wasn't heavily recruited out of high school, seen as too slow to play guard and not big enough for the forward position. But he had one weapon, his shooting. Stephen Curry's journey through Davidson College became the stuff of legend. The son of an NBA player, he was supposed to have offers from powerhouse schools, right? Wrong. "Duke didn't want me, North Carolina didn't want me, and Virginia Tech wouldn't even give me a look," Steph once said with a smile. Instead, he ended up at Davidson, a small school with no track record of NBA stars. Yet, he put them on the map, leading them to the Elite Eight in 2008, torching opponents with long-range shots. He scored 40 points against Gonzaga, dropped 30 on Georgetown, and 33 against Wisconsin, all while looking like a scrawny kid who'd wandered onto the court by mistake. "That tournament made me," Steph said. "It showed me I could play against anybody." Klay, on the other hand, went to Washington State, another school far from the national spotlight. While there, he developed a reputation as a relentless shooter, setting school records and earning all Pac-10 honors. But despite his success, he struggled with discipline and focus, earning a suspension during his junior year. "I made some mistakes," Klay admitted. "But those tough times taught me to stay focused on the court and ignore the noise outside." Fast forward to 2011, when the Golden State Warriors selected Klay Thompson as the 11th overall pick, pairing him with Steph Curry, who had been drafted 2 years earlier. From the get-go, their chemistry was undeniable. "It was like I'd found my shooting twin," Steph joked. The two began putting on shooting clinics during practices, wowing coaches and teammates alike. "They'd go back and forth, sinking threes from everywhere, half-court corner, deep wing," said former Warriors coach Mark Jackson. "It was unreal." But it wasn't all smooth sailing. The Warriors struggled initially, plagued by injuries and inconsistency. Steph, in particular, faced severe ankle issues that had many doubting his future. "I'd play a game and feel like my ankle would give out at any moment," Steph recalled. "There were nights when I thought, maybe I'm not built for this." Even Klay's father expressed concern. "I remember talking to Klay, telling him, 'Man, I hope this kid can stay healthy. You two are going to be special together.'" Despite the setbacks, they persevered. "We knew we had something special," Klay said. "We just had to stay on the court together long enough for everyone else to see it." And see it they did. As Steph and Klay began to launch deep threes with casual ease, defenses didn't know how to respond. Traditional big men lumbered around, trying to contest their shots, only to be left in no man's land. "We changed the geometry of the court," Steph explained. "Teams had to guard us 35 feet out, and that opened everything up for our teammates." By 2015, the Splash Brothers had become the most lethal shooting duo the game had ever seen, leading the Warriors to their first championship in 40 years. They didn't stop there. Over the next few seasons, they shattered records and redefined what was possible in the NBA. Steph set the single-season record for three-pointers made, hitting 402 in 2016, a feat that felt otherworldly at the time. "People thought I was crazy, but I just felt like every shot I took was going in," Steph said with a laugh. Klay, too, had his share of jaw-dropping performances. Who could forget the night he scored 37 points in a single quarter, sinking shots from every corner of the court? "I was just in the zone, man," Klay said, shrugging as if it were the easiest thing in the world. "Once I hit a couple, it felt like I couldn't miss." Together, they made the impossible look routine. Their style, quick, precise, and unrelenting, transformed the way teams built their rosters. Suddenly, everyone needed shooters, and three-pointers became the new layups. "Steph and Klay didn't just play the game, they rewrote the playbook," said Warriors coach Steve Kerr. "They made shooting an art form." But with success came scrutiny. As the Warriors became the team to beat, Steph and Klay faced immense pressure to perform night after night. There were injuries, devastating losses, and even doubts about whether they could maintain their dominance. People were saying, "You're only good because of your shooting," Klay remembered. "But we embraced that. Shooting is what we do." Even when Kevin Durant joined the team, shifting the dynamics, the Splash Brothers remained the heart and soul of the Warriors. They never wavered, never stopped working. "We welcomed KD with open arms," Steph said, "because we knew he made us even better." But at the end of the day, the Splash Brothers never left. "We were still here, still shooting." Today, the impact of the Splash Brothers is seen everywhere, from kids in gyms hoisting up deep threes to NBA teams building around shooting-first philosophies. "We wanted to prove that you didn't have to be the biggest or the strongest to dominate," Steph said. "You just had to have the skill and the will to outwork everyone." As the league continues to evolve, one thing is certain: the Splash Brothers will forever be remembered as the duo that changed the game, one three-pointer at a time. And as long as they're on the court, there will always be the threat of another splash.